You know, in the history of tech, some revolutions feel, well, incomplete, like a great story that's just missing its final chapter. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest of them all, the hunt for a truly free, truly decentralized internet. And we're going to explore a mission that was left unfinished by two of its absolute titans. So, what exactly did they leave on the table? I mean, we're talking about the foundational architects of the entire crypto world here. They laid out the blueprints for a whole new digital frontier. But if you look at the source material for this explainer, the argument is they didn't quite finish the job. So let's really dig into why that might be. Okay, think of it like a giant jigsaw puzzle. You've got two brilliant minds, right? Each one contributes this huge, essential part of the picture. But there's this one crucial piece, the one that connects everything together, that was never put in place. And the argument is that this missing piece is the reason the internet still hasn't become what it was always meant to be. Right, so let's get into Act 1, and that starts with our first titan, Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious, legendary creator of Bitcoin who gave the world its very first taste of truly decentralized money. This is where the whole story really kicks off.
What Satoshi did, which was just pure genius, was create the heart of a new financial world, Bitcoin. A secure, decentralized store of value. It beats strong, it's reliable, but a heart can't really do much on its own, can it? It needs a body. Satoshi gave us this core asset, but what was missing was the rest of the ecosystem. You know, the arms and legs needed for it to actually interact with our daily lives.
And that's where this idea of a treasure in a vault comes from. It nails the point perfectly. Bitcoin became this incredibly valuable, incredibly secure thing, but it was basically locked away. Yeah, you could send it back and forth, but you couldn't easily build things on top of it, like apps or new kinds of businesses. It was a static asset, not an interactive world.
So, along comes our second giant, Vitalik Buterin. He looked at the heart that Satoshi built and thought, okay, this is amazing, but it needs a brain. He set out to give the blockchain intelligence.
And that brain, it came in the form of smart contracts on Ethereum. And this was a total game changer. All of a sudden, the blockchain wasn't just for sending money anymore. Now it could run code, it could power applications, it could unleash this whole universe of creativity. The body was finally starting to get a nervous system.
But here's the twist. Here's what the source calls the fatal flaw in the whole design. Ethereum was building this brilliant, decentralized Web 3.0 brain, but it was building it on the foundations of the old world, the centralized infrastructure of Web 2.0. Let's break that down because this is really important. Ethereum's brain doesn't just run on thin air, right? It needs physical servers. And the vast majority of those servers are owned by huge centralized companies like Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud. And that's the fundamental contradiction. How can you build a truly decentralized system if a handful of tech giants are holding a kill switch? Theoretically, they could just shut off the pipe anytime they want. And this brings us to what our source presents as the final piece of the puzzle. This is where the story pivots. Enter WebGold, a project that's basically designed to be the missing link that connects Satoshi's heart and Vitalik's brain into one complete functional system. So how does it supposedly do this? Well, it's a three-part approach. First, it focuses on building the complete body, a whole ecosystem with tools we use every day, like search and AI. Second, and this is the big one, it aims to build its own foundation. It wants to create its own decentralized cloud infrastructure, what's called a DePIN, to finally break free from big tech. And third, it adds what the source calls intrinsic mass, by backing the system with actual physical gold. This chart, honestly, it puts the whole journey into perspective. We started with Satoshi's heart, Bitcoin, totally self-contained, but it didn't have a real ecosystem. Then we got Vitalik's brain, Ethereum, brilliant, programmable, but with that critical dependency on centralized tech. So the argument here is that WebGold, from a project called Block Nova, finally provides the complete body because it runs on its own decentralized turf, solving those earlier flaws.
And that leads us to the grand vision here. It's not just about patching holes or fixing problems. The argument is that this is about building something totally new and complete from the ground up, a structure built on a foundation that is truly, and finally, its own.
This quote from the source material just sums up the entire narrative, doesn't it? Satoshi opened the door, Vitalik laid the carpet, but Block Nova builds the golden castle. The idea is that the final act isn't just to furnish the room, it's to construct a permanent, sovereign digital structure that can actually last.
And what's really interesting is how they frame your part in all this.
The source material suggests that you, the user, can become a builder in this new world. That by using a tool they call Code 1932, you can actually help assemble this new digital civilization.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought. If this puzzle, the heart, the brain, and now the complete body, is finally solved, then what happens next? Does this mark the end of the foundational story of crypto, or does having a complete, decentralized body finally unlock the door to a whole new story that's really just beginning?